not going to want to miss this movie. Yeah, you're not going to want to miss this movie.
Over time, as we get challengers from BRICS, for example, this is going to make the US dollar stronger. And every time a dollar token trades somewhere in the world on a crypto wallet, there has to be a physical dollar in a US bank account invested in a US treasury. And that creates demand for our debt, which is another positive thing. And there have been studies done that show that the results of this bill could be trillions of dollars of new demand for our debt, which is only a positive thing.
If it's done on a blockchain, on a distributed ledger blockchain, it could be minutes, if not seconds. And so it's going to enormously hasten the time frame for making payments. It's more secure. It's more private. It's significantly cheaper. And so if indeed this does revolutionize the way that international payments are invoiced and paid, then there should be a flocking to this technology. And if all of that trade, therefore, is even further denominated in stablecoins, then there's going to be demand for the underlying assets, which are Treasury securities. And we could potentially see on the order of trillions of additional demand.
Speaking of 401k retirement plans, would you allow crypto into retirement plans? Because the Financial Times is reporting that we could see an executive order from the administration as soon as today allowing alternative investments into retirement plans.
Well, again, I think that, disclosure is key and that people need to know what they're getting into. So things like that are not for everybody. And so especially in retirement plans. So I look forward to whatever may come out from the president as far as direction goes. But we need to address it because there is a demand out there for these sorts of products, and the government should not stand as a blocking agent for those sorts of things. But we need to enable it in the proper way with proper guidelines and proper disclosure.
From the Financial Times hit that President Trump is preparing to open U.S. 401ks, the retirement market, in part to crypto investments. Knowing how famously volatile digital assets have been, cryptocurrencies have been, is there not some risk in that when we're talking about retirement investments specifically?
I mean, if you're setting up a 401k, like for example, take the Trump accounts, for example. I mean, you're holding this asset over long periods of time. I mean, these aren't trading vehicles. Stocks themselves can be incredibly volatile. So, I mean, if it's for retirement, it's for long-term savings and wealth creation, then you want to give people the opportunity to diversify their asset flow in a way that meets their own needs. So I don't see a problem with any of it, actually.
Stablecoins are very important to get regulated because they provide a 24/7 set of rails that allow money to move globally in regulated fashion between countries, between companies, between banks. And if you look at the overall Bitcoin market, for example, the ability for funds to move on and off exchanges via stablecoins will mean there'll be even more volume available to trade Bitcoin outside of banking and exchange hours. So I'm very bullish about the impact of this on Bitcoin and on the broader crypto market. I think the Genius Act is going to be very helpful for providing trust around stablecoins. I think as we move to the Clarity Act, that will then provide market structure, which is very important around what types of assets are deemed securities, what are commodities, what tokens are which. It's very important that there's clarity so that regulators have a much easier time regulating and companies can innovate.
Welcome to the Crypto Teacher.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.
And make sure you join the Patreons. If you're not a part of the Patreons, make sure you're hitting the Cash App. Also, make sure you go like and follow the TikTok. More videos to come. And we even have David Sachs speaking on the BRICS. And in 2025, we're seeing the whole digital asset piece come together. And then 2026, we're going to be off to the races. And even though Trump says the BRICS can't be found, he thinks they've broken up. We know they're stronger than ever. And they're getting off the dollar, and that's the reason why tokenization is going to be so important, because they're not going to be buying these U.S. treasuries. They're going to be in their own currency. And the only thing you have to do is look at the Belt and Road and look at the population of these countries. We can clearly see that the fourth industrial revolution is going to rise in the emerging markets. And remember, the crypto teacher tells you. And we have the Treasury Deputy Secretary says that stable coins could open up trillions in demand for treasuries. And we know also that is a fact. But remember, they're only buying the short end. And that's the issue. And that's going to cause a problem in the yield curve. Because no one, and I mean absolutely no one, wants this long-term paper. And remember, the crypto teacher told you. Now we have Paul Atkins of the SEC is asked about 401k when it comes to investments with crypto. And you can clearly see he's not going to stop it. He wants to see regulation. Of course, once we get regulation, then the banks can open up the cryptos. Of course, they can already invest in Bitcoin and Ethereum on certain platforms. And we have Joseph, the counselor to the Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, also says this gives an opportunity to diversify their funds when they're investing in crypto when it comes to the 401ks. But we know crypto is definitely volatile, and you have to also understand real use cases. So education is definitely a big piece to this, and then also regulation. And then we have the Clarity Act should be signed by the end of this year. And once we get full regulation, and it's going to take about 2 years for everything to be implemented, we're going to see a lot of these cryptos fall by the wayside. And remember, the crypto teacher told you, don't forget, only 1% of 1% is going to make it in the fourth industrial revolution. And the same goes for stocks. Now we have more drama on the weekend. We have Tulsi Gabbard brings in another distraction. And it's always old news. This one is close to 10 years. Obama tried to sabotage Trump through Russiagate. And again, all this is a distraction to get us moved over to this fourth industrial revolution. The only thing we have to do is get our popcorn, sit back, and let it play out. And remember, the crypto teacher tells you, because he knows when it comes to the NWO, it's all planned out. You have a wonderful day.
What was the most damning thing that you learned after looking through all of these declassified documents?
Maria, the implications of this are frankly nothing short of historic. Over 100 documents that we released on Friday really detail and provide evidence of how this treasonous conspiracy was directed by President Obama just weeks before he was due to leave office, after President Trump had already gotten elected. This is not a Democrat or Republican issue. This is an issue that is so serious it should concern every single American, because it has to do with the integrity of our democratic republic. What we saw occur here, as the documents we released detailed, was that we had a sitting president of the United States and his cabinet and leadership team, quite frankly, who were not happy with the fact that President Trump had won the election, that the American people had chosen Donald J. Trump to be the next president commander-in-chief of the United States. And so they decided that they would do everything possible to try to undermine his ability to do what voters tasked President Trump to do. So creating this piece of manufactured intelligence that claims that Russia had helped Donald Trump get elected contradicted every other assessment that had been made previously in the months leading up to the election that said exactly the opposite, that Russia had neither the intent nor the capability to try to, quote unquote, hack the United States election for the presidency of the United States. So the effect of what President Obama and his senior national security team did was subvert the will of the American people, undermining our democratic republic, and enacting what would be essentially a years-long coup against President Trump, who was duly elected by the American people.
Going to a different economy, and we're going to be learning more about that as we go. But clearly, we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
And so we'll import Chinese-based CBDC technology. So it's going to be CBDC in a box provided to you by the People's Bank of China.
But every stock, every bond, every currency, every commodity, every piece of art, every private business, every piece of real estate will eventually be a token on a blockchain, an entry on a ledger, permanent and immutable. We will have truth instead of trust, and we will save over $7 trillion a year. 6 to 8% of global GDP is wasted by the friction of the trust industry that's necessary when you have dual entry accounting. With triple entry accounting, which is what a blockchain is, we get rid of all of that friction. It's a beautiful future.
Like what you see in China and their social credit scoring systems, right? If we get identity wrong, it could be a tool to enslave humanity. And if we get it right, it could be a tool to liberate humanity. And as an American, I'm obviously rooting for the one that's on the side of freedom.
Bitcoin is an international asset. And also, I do believe the role of crypto is, it's digitizing gold.
I actually believe this technology is going to be very important. Look at it. We have been part of the huge revolution in investing through ETFs. We believe that ETFs will be changing the whole way we invest. Many people still use it as a means, people are investing it for indexing. No, the majority of people who are putting money in in ETFs are active investors that are buying exposure. The entire bond market is being transformed as we talk right now. I believe the next generation for markets, the next generation for securities will be tokenization of securities. And if we can have that distributed ledger that we know every beneficial owner, every beneficial seller, we all have our code of who's buying, who's selling, instantaneous settlement. And think about it, it changes the whole ecosystem.
Chinese bank ICBC has been hit by a ransomware attack, and the U.S. Treasury market, as a result of that, has been disrupted. This, according to the Financial Times. We're getting at more right now with Bloomberg's Shonali Bassick. Shonali, what do we know?
Listen, we have the Financial Times now reporting that ICBC, one of China's largest banks here, was hit with a ransomware attack. And remember, they're a very significant intermediary in the Treasury market. The SIFMA has told its members that this has been part of the reason here that the system is kind of clogged up, if you will, during that auction that we saw a little bit before. The attack had prevented ICBC, according to the Financial Times, from settling Treasury trades on behalf of other market participants. A large executive at a major bank also telling the paper that such a large party on the fixed income clearing corp creates major concerns, potentially impacting the liquidity of Treasury markets.
Now, it was not just a poor auction. It was absolutely lousy, and when the dealers have to step in to save a treasury auction, that's a rare occurrence. And
Cryptoteacher and the new World Order book, plus the 3 kids books, It's Time to Re-Educate. Also, new to cryptos, Coinbase, Bitrue, Binance. Do not forget book links and crypto links are in the description. The stock channel, guys. Don't forget to go like, subscribe, spread everywhere. You have your Kobo, your chip stocks, your banking, your gaming. While everybody's sitting at home, get on stocks, the Seaver, the biotech stocks. And while everybody's at home wishing, they were still getting that free money. What are they doing? Drinking and smoking weed. Don't forget about those stocks, and you have a wonderful day. The most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. Steve Jobs. And guys, you know I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids books. You know I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis. Whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, we have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip of the 3 books. There's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends, so therefore we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, the 4th Industrial Revolution foundation is definitely here. Robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save the village. Part 2. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save New York. COVID Stories 3. Part 3. King Joshua and Grandma Tam goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.